it rains in Orlando every single day in the summertime. It was a Tuesday, a couple weeks ago, around 7:30 p.m. I was leaving work, same place as always, and the storm outside, just about identical to the one 2 weeks earlier. That night, 2 weeks before, I posted a dash cam clip of myself driving through standing water and saying, well, I won't be doing that again. The first red flag, water was bubbling up from the parking garage floor. That was showing that the drains were already overwhelmed. I even narrated that into my dash cam, both videos, the first one and the second one. So in the second video, I started to take a different exit, but it was blocked off. I had really planned on taking this alternative exit because I suspected that the way that was flooded 2 weeks before was going to be flooded again. But since the other way was coned off, I figured I'll go the other way. I'll go the same way I went before, and it must be fine. Right when I got outside, I saw the deep stretch of water ahead, maybe 8 to 12 inches deep. And just like before, I started to panic. Instead of crawling through slowly, like I knew I should, I hit the gas. And just when I thought I was through the puddle, it started getting thicker, and I floored it even more. I had about 3 feet to go to get out of the puddle, and the engine stopped. That moment, when your car stops moving and you're surrounded by water, you don't forget that moment. I sat there for, it felt like a couple minutes, but my hands were shaking. I was yelling a lot of profanities that I'll be censoring out of the dashcam video that I'll be showing, trying to figure out several things. If I should open the windows, if I should turn off the car because the electrical system was still on, if I should get out of the car, if I should call 911, get out, stay in, all of these thoughts. Eventually, I picked up the phone and called 911. I told them I was stuck, that water was surrounding me. I thought that I stayed calm during the call, but listening back to the video doesn't sound that way. After I hung up, I broke down and started crying for about 10 or 15 minutes, just thinking about the headache that was ahead of me, having to deal with getting the car out, paying for it, all of that. So given that I didn't see the water receding, I finally decided to climb out. So I rolled the window down, hoisted myself up, and half praying that I didn't drop my phone, I put it in my pocket and that I wouldn't slip, got onto the roof of my car, and realized that I could get over to the other side of the puddle. Once I was standing outside of the puddle for about 2 minutes, soaking wet, I realized that the water started to drain because there was a drain right across from where I had flooded. 10 minutes after I got out, the water receded. 10 minutes. I could have made it through if I had just waited 10 more minutes. Or better yet, not gone in at all. Now that I know where the spot is, I can actually see it from overhead, which again adds to my embarrassment and feeling of shame when I think that it could have been prevented. So the aftermath, the police arrived about 20 minutes after the 911 call. They were kind, professional, asked if I was okay, and they told me that they would notify Universal Security. An hour and a half later, Universal Security came by and asked if I was the one that had called for the tow truck. Funny, they didn't even ask me what happened or why I was stalled out there. But at least for that time, I was able to find shelter in the parking structure. Literally the exact same spot where I park anyway is where I was taking shelter from my car being flooded out for 2.5 hours. Eventually, AAA got there. I rode with them to the dealership where we towed the vehicle. My clothes were still soaked. The tow truck driver asked me several times if I wanted her to turn down the air conditioning because it was freezing. And after her third request, I said, yeah, could you turn it down a little bit, please? So I rode with them to the dealership, and then I took an Uber home. Now here's the real cost. The part I knew was coming. I'd have to return the next day just to drop off the keys and explain what happened, and then wait to hear the repair diagnosis. Then figure out how much it's going to cost. Now, as of this recording, I still don't know that information, but a couple of days after the incident, I realized that I needed to call my insurance company, and the second that I talked to them, they said that based on my description of the situation, that my car would most likely be totaled. Especially since the value of the vehicle before the incident was probably only about $6,000. This is my 2018 Kia Rio that I always brag about getting 39 miles per gallon in. No more. So again, don't really know exactly what it's going to cost other than a new vehicle, but I do know that it's going to cost more than just money. It cost me a lot of time, cost me peace of mind, and cost me pride. So why I'm telling you this, as I mentioned at the beginning, I debated even making this episode. I am still embarrassed deeply, not because I got stuck, but because I told everyone I wouldn't do it again. Not to mention that I host a podcast all about making smart driving decisions. But I'm sharing it anyway, and I'm going to share the dash cam video, censored, of course. I'll be splitting the dash cam video up into different shorts to hopefully spread the word about driving safely and staying out of floods. So, specifically, if you're ever leaving Universal Studios Orlando and you are parked in Jurassic parking or King Kong or Jaws on level 2, or pretty much anywhere in the parking structure, and it is raining down a monsoon, do not leave the parking structure. Just at least wait it out 10 or 15 minutes, or go to my YouTube channel and you can see the corner of the building, the spot where you can actually stand and see if the road leaving is flooded. Now, the exit that I took, obviously I work there, so maybe it's not obvious to you, but since I work there, it is an employee lot, or at least it's an employee level. So I'm speaking mostly to Universal Orlando employees who take that exit every single night. Please check if it's raining or just wait. If it helps just one employee, one family, one Uber driver, then hopefully my huge mistake was worth it. What I would do differently, if I could rewind to 7:28 that night, I would do two things differently. First, I would trust my first and second and third instinct when I saw people running like crazy leaving Universal, seeing the water bubbling up just like I did a couple weeks before. I would have just waited. 10 minutes later, the water was gone. Here's what I want you to know. 6 inches of water can stall most cars. 12 inches can float a vehicle, and 24 inches, it's 2 feet, can carry it away. And just because you got through it once doesn't mean you will again. For me, the first time was luck. The second time was a lesson. I messed up, and I want to be better, not just as a driver, but as a voice. So I'm sharing this with you not as an expert, but as someone who got it wrong. I am not proud of this, but I am proud that I'm being honest. As I mentioned several times, there's more video on my YouTube channel at Mastering the Commute. I've got dashcam videos, also the video of my tow truck ride, and I might even throw in part of my embarrassing 911 call. If you've ever made a mistake, double down on it, and had to eat it, I'm with you. And I'd love to hear it. Please share it with me at freewaytrafficexpert@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out our community at drivesmarternow.com. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Stay dry, stay smart, and as always, thanks for riding with me.